In this episode, GoGo Stellamint Murf attempts to sand down our rough edges and make us gifts worth unwrapping.
JoJo is the scion of an elite family of matchmakers, and she endeavors to annoy her parents by bringing their exclusive services to bear on a clientele of lower status.
So roll up your towel into a pillow, lean back, and
Prepare to learn that snobby jerk faces aren't just a kick-ass band.
Shut up and sit down.
Welcome once again to the Hitchhikers and Appetizers podcast, coming to you from the illustrious Millyways, the restaurant at the end of the universe. More specifically, here in booth 42, where here I sit. And I'm not broken-hearted. No. I am Horatio Zinn, sitting here very comfortably in booth 42. And I'm going to introduce my co-host in a moment, but first I have to comment on something. Well, let me introduce you, and then I'll go off on my tangent. This is Trellis Gardeen, co-host extraordinaire.
I am excited that I got in before the tangent because we know a Schenecticus tangent is far more tangent than most tangents.
It is a tangent journey beyond measure. You may not ever get back to the original point.
No.
But the thing that's
Not at
bothering me
Uh-oh.
is I've seen a trend lately here in the restaurant of people wearing helmets that cover their faces and not taking them off for meals.
Oh.
Or if they have to eat, they tell you, oh, you look away because you can't see without my helmet on. And it just disturbs me. Also, I don't want to have to wear a helmet in a restaurant. I
No.
don't want that to become something that's restricted. Because I wouldn't be able to get it off. It might stick, and the embarrassing popping sound.
Depending on how much you eat, it might go on but not come off.
That's true. That's true.
And I know how much you want people to see you enjoying what you're eating.
That is the part of the point of sharing the joy of my mastication and digestion.
It's I do get some level of I would say not enjoyment, entertainment from watching you cram shrimp after firecracker shrimp covered in wham bam sauce into your mouth, because I sit there thinking to myself, well, he's got to stop at some point, right? And
no, but then I dig into the Silicon and Devil Beast casserole that's right there too.
Yes. And the bug bladder beast bites.
Yes. Oh, those are chasers. You have to chase every other bite with one of those.
Well, I mean, the bug bladder beast is a vicious animal. Are you considering it as literally chasing the shrimp down into your stomach?
Well, you can't really rely on them, bug bladder beasts, because even when they're dead, they're incredibly stupid.
Mm-hmm. True. Very true.
So you can't rely on that.
Do you feel a connection to the bug bladder beast, Horatio?
Are you calling me stupid?
Tangentially.
I thought of myself more as intellectually lazy, or intellectually disinterested than stupid.
Another way to put it.
Oh, good. I used some big words there to hide my stupidity, and which I think is that's the first.
I'm going to go out on a limb here and bet somebody wrote tangent on your hand and you just decided to use it.
Oh, I was wondering that's my hand. I thought that was just a strange looking piece of note paper. That's fascinating. Very fleshy note paper.
You know what is not a tangent, Horatio?
Oh, I'm going to guess. Can I guess? Am I smart enough to guess?
I'm going to just tell you out straight out because we don't have enough time to, in case you can't guess what it is. It's our guest.
That was my second choice. I thought I guessed second choice. First one.
I was going to say, what is the first one?
It's just a lovely parfait.
No.
No.
Like you would, how would you even interview a parfait? You would just eat it. That'd be the shortest interview we've ever done.
That's a form of interaction. Eating is a form of interaction. There are cultures, as you know, where they get to know other cultures by eating them. It's a strange way of making friends because the future is very limited with the relationship like that.
But you do become one with the subject.
That's true. And then you let them go later. Yeah.
I think I'd like to call that by either interview by osmosis or interview by digestion.
Either one is fine.
Exactly.
Also, I did want to leave this out, that again, about sharing my eating experience with other patrons. I do like to go by a table and just say, here, put your head on my belly and listen to the digestion take place. And I found with some races it's very calming, with others it started wars.
I vote war.
I think it's calming.
Well, let's meet our guest.
Oh yes, let's do that. We were talking about that.
Would you like to introduce yourself? Tell us a little bit about yourself. Welcome to the 42, as we like to call it.
Hello. Thank you so much for having me here today.
Welcome.
My name is GoGo Stellamint Murf, and I am the foremost matchmaker and dating coach in the galaxy.
Oh, fascinating.
Dating coach.
I'm writing that down, matchmaker and dating.
That's a very, very important role. I mean, people trying to find each other, and you're out there bringing them together.
Well, as you might know from the Stellamint Murf name, my family has been galaxy matchmakers for as long as the planets can remember. They've made some of the world's greatest matches between rulers, emirs, and czars. And as the youngest member of the Stellamint Murf clan, I am branching out into coaching others on how to find and retain partners. For example, placing your partner's head on your belly and asking them to hear your digestion might not be the best way to find a mate.
I told you, Horatio. I told you.
Oh, strange. That's just so counterintuitive to me, but that's fascinating.
Now, you mentioned rulers, emirs, and czars. It sounds like you are now expanding out to more of the common folk.
Exactly.
And helping them find their match.
That's lovely.
I have to say my family had much hesitation about bringing our business down to the lowers, but I explained to them that today the difference between someone of good breeding and wealth and someone who is opposite of that is becoming less apparent in this age of communication.
Yes.
So my parents have allowed me to take 1 year to try and change what's going on with the people below our common client stature.
That's lovely, because I think Horatio would be described maybe as a larger in addition to being a lower.
Yes.
Well, it depends on what planet and what being you're dealing with, but yes,
This is true.
on average, he is higher than the mean.
Oh, I'm higher than the mean.
Nice.
I'm going to put that on my business cards. Higher than the mean.
And you mentioned the finding and retaining relationships, because I have not had really a whole lot of difficulty finding
No.
the relationships, because I have 23 exes. But clearly, once you hear the X part,
Yes.
I am having a difficulty with the retention.
Yes, the
part.
retention is the rub, is it not?
Yes.
Oh, he's very good at getting rid of them.
Yes.
Oh, he
That's
is expert at getting rid of them.
faster than finding.
Well, so you've got half of the formula down. Perhaps the ones you're attracting are not right, or they often say if you've got 23 ex-wives, perhaps the problem is you. You're the one thing all the pairs have in common.
Horatio tells me that all the time, but I refuse to believe that. But
I'm not a licensed therapist, but I have said that. I feel better that you confirmed that.
Well, your large being holds more than just fat. but
oh,
also
thank
brain.
you. Thank you for assuming that.
yes,
That's very nice of you. Very charitable.
My pleasure.
look at me. I look like royalty, so that's at least a big part of it, if you ask me.
Your face shines like a diadem on a goddess, does it not?
It certainly shines.
That's not a cheap option to add either during the plastic surgery. It's on there. That's one of the more expensive ones.
Oh,
Sheen.
what do you need to do to retain it, if you don't mind my asking? It really does glow.
He loves to talk about this.
Oh, are you kidding?
Yes.
It's return visits to Glandar. It's every 2 to 3 years, depending on how much you had initially put on. They can put on more sheen, less sheen, and eventually, it also depends on, of course, a little exposure to the sun.
Very important.
Depending on the sun that your planet is rotating around, that can cause a difference.
And the proximity there, too.
Exactly.
Yes,
Exactly.
yes.
So all those things factor in, but generally speaking, every 2 to 3 Glandar years, because obviously, one being's year revolving around their planet might be different from Glandar's.
Also, keep in mind that on Glandar, they tend to say that they're younger
Yes.
than they really are.
Doesn't everybody?
So we don't really know how old the planet is because it keeps saying, oh, it was 39
Right.
for like at least 20, 30, 40 years.
I appreciate you gentlemen telling me about this, because I must say my family has warned me to never go and said that women in my family should never go to Glandar.
Oh.
No, I don't think you should. I don't want to be presumptuous, but I think you're lovely the way you are. Just absolutely perfect.
Oh, thank you so much. I agree.
Glandar would just cheapen.
What? Glandar doesn't cheapen anybody.
That's what's been implied at the family meetings.
Glandar does not cheapen anybody.
Go on, though, Mr. Gardeen, please.
I was going to say, in addition to, we have built into the sheen a chemical bonding that will start to turn yellow when you need to head back to get it refreshed.
Ah, much like a quartz countertop left in the sun.
I don't get into the technical aspects of it. I just do the sales out on the lobby.
Well, you know what they say, when one has a face made of quartz, one can't get burned.
Oh, yes. Oh, they do say that, don't they?
Chiseled. And you look chiseled.
Yes.
Another thing they used to do, and it was a bit more disruptive, was that when you were getting close to time where you needed to have more of the plastic surgery done, an alarm would go off.
Mm-hmm.
That was set under the skin. And it started out with the sound of flashing. It became flashing lights under the skin and the siren. I still hear it.
You can't ignore it.
No.
At some point, you can't ignore it, and you got to go get the resheening.
So then they decided to go to just the yellowing, and I think that makes it
A little more subtle. It's a little more subtle.
much easier to be around. Much easier.
I will say that of the people I work with who are looking for partners, sheen is very low on the list of non-negotiables.
Oh.
So I wouldn't worry there.
Fascinating. What would be the most desirous quality that to have?
Wonderful question, Mr. Zen.
Oh, thank you.
Mr. Zen. Was he your dad? Come on, this is Horatio.
Score. I'm going to put something up here on the...
I'm so sorry. Well, we just met. I didn't want to be overly familiar. Would you prefer I call you something else besides Mr. Zen?
Oh, you call me whatever you call me. Will be perfect. Just ignore Trellis.
You do have a way with words, sir.
I carry them around with me, and I try to make use of them.
You use many.
I thank you.
I'm sorry. I'd forgotten your query, Mr. Jardine.
It was basically, well, actually, Horatio, I thought you were going to ask a little bit about the method.
Oh, I did. Yes, I didn't want to interrupt there, although I often do. What are the qualities that you would try to encourage?
Ah, yes.
Try to encourage for making sure that relationships were the perfect match.
To find the perfect match,
Yes.
one always wants to look for qualities in common.
Oh.
Now, this doesn't mean that if your partner loves to watch Bon Jovi Ball on a weekend and the other partner would prefer a good book, well, then that's okay. What's important is the qualities in the heart. Do you have matching values? Do you both eat the same creatures? And if you don't,
That's a big one.
do you take offense, or is your family one of the creatures that your partners eat?
Exactly.
It's not that one must not go outside their own planet or galaxy to find love, but it's those common values that are most important to keep a couple together.
Oh, that's wonderful. Because I can see that there would be a problem if you were dating someone that of a species your family traditionally would eat.
It's happened before.
And you bring them home for dinner, and they think, "Oh, look, you brought dinner." And I said, "No, I brought a guest."
I've seen an entire wedding reception ravaged when one side of the family thought that the other side of the family was the buffet.
Oh.
That definitely saves on catering fees, though, you have to admit. I'm just being practical.
Yes, and anniversary gift costs as the wedding ended as soon as it began.
Right. Quick question.
Mhm.
If you were to be the being in the relationship that is in fact eaten, do they still have to pay you?
Oh, very good question.
Yes, well, it is a fee up front. It is up to the individual whether or not they find love and companionship based on what they're bringing to the table, shall they say.
Or if you end up on the table.
Or if you end up on the table.
In the middle with the garnish.
Exactly. So the way I work is I receive a fee up front,
Very good.
and then I will find you as many dates as it takes to find your true love.
Oh, my.
Oh, wow. Unlimited. An unlimited supply.
Well, there is a limit. No one's hit the limit yet.
As many as it takes, but it's only this many.
I bet I could push that number.
I bet he can. I was going to say it's a build-up to that. I was wondering, what is the biggest challenge you've had with that? The being that's taken the longest time and the most experimentation and such.
Well, it's interesting. You should ask Mr. Zinn because it was actually someone from your home planet.
Haha.
I am not surprised. I am not surprised. I want to hear about this.
Part of the issue, now I'm not going to name names, but let's just say they have been a legacy name on your planet for quite a while. I found that what is the biggest problem is when the individual looking for love is unwilling to compromise regarding their own being.
No.
Love is a compromise. No one is perfect at any time or ever will be.
Yes.
So the manner in which we can find companionship that lasts is to take some of our rougher edges and sand them down. And what I've found is the people on your planet have some of the roughest edges in the galaxy.
I believe this.
I've lived there. I can confirm it. Also, having been away from there long enough now, I can look at them as them. And I'm much more likely to criticize them because they're them. They're not us.
Ooh, have you othered yourself?
When I go home, it's them. It's us.
I would have figured that the biggest issue with trying to connect someone on Schenecticus to someone else as a match would be that they probably wouldn't have been able to find the location of the first date.
We do provide transportation to avoid that sort of thing.
As in they get picked up and then dropped off?
They do.
That is wise. That is because
Wow.
people on Schenecticus just don't even know where to go to find things they need every day, let alone the love of their life.
The signs there, it might say groceries, for instance. It might say grocery, supermarket, something like that. But you go in and it's a putt-putt golf course. And it's an outdoor putt-putt golf course, but it's indoors, which is even more confusing.
Horrible location. A putt-putt golf course for a first date? No.
No. Second date, maybe. Well, third date, if they have one of those places you can kind of like if something on the course is large enough that you could kind of snuggle inside together.
My preference is like that's actually a breakup location for me.
Oh.
Mr. Gardeen, I must ask,
Gardeen.
as
Fancy.
you know, it is my occupation, but also my area of interest. Why do you say that a miniature golf course would not be an ideal date?
Yes, let's just analyze this.
Because there's a certain amount of time you have to spend with them.
It's not the balls flying at your face?
Well, that's some of it. But 18 holes is a long time to be stuck with someone. You know, if you start out,
Big commitment.
and after the first hole, you usually know whether you want to spend any more time with them. And if not, you got to play 17 more holes.
Just to double check, sir, were all of your marriages longer than a round
No,
of miniature golf?
they were not.
You could time some of them with a stopwatch.
I could feel it from the way you discussed the hole.
Even then, they felt like they were longer than an 18-hole round. Oh,
Some marathons.
time slowed down. Let's put it that way. Or it sure felt like it.
So perhaps I would advise you that you are taking and accepting dates, perhaps asking these people on dates, that you have not fully researched. And by fully researched, I mean getting more than the other person's name before endeavoring to go out.
Sometimes all he gets is a look at the face. He doesn't even get the name, and later he's embarrassed.
You can't hit the miniature links with a face.
No.
Here's what might work. If you could find 18 possible matches and put each of them on a different hole, and then the date just lasts for one hole, and at the end of it, I'm on a new date. Maybe that would be a...
Miniature dates.
Yes.
It's a bit like speed dating, but on a miniature golf course.
Well, you've got me here.
Yes.
Would you like to pick my brain? Both of you seem quite lonely, and that's why you grasp onto each other emotionally.
Oh, yes. I think you cut to the core.
How can I help you find love? Let me do what I do best.
Horatio does what he does best, and he eats.
Yes.
What I do best is look good.
But what's the point of looking good if there's no one to admire it, Mr. Gardeen?
Or no substance behind it.
Well, that's true. So, in your professional opinion, JoJo, where would you start with me? Who would you match me up with? What planet?
Oh, how would you prepare Trellis for?
Yes,
for
yeah,
dating?
exactly.
That's what I would ask. How would you change Trellis so that he
What
might be an
change?
appealing potential mate. Just let her talk, Trellis.
How about refine?
Well, let me start with an analogy. Imagine it's Flurgorg morning, and you've come downstairs to observe what gifts you've gotten underneath the branch, and you see the most beautifully wrapped box, covered in glitter and gold, and you're so excited you've never seen a wrapping job more exquisite. And then when you open the box, inside is just a roll of tape. Disappointment. You'd wish you'd never unwrapped that box at all. And so I am concerned, sir, that all you may have inside you is a roll of tape. And you've got to expand that tape. Tape it to something else. Thoughts, ideas, a personality, values and morals. And guarantee.
What if it was me in the box?
Excuse me?
What if I got in the box?
No, you are the box.
And then it was a pretty box, and you opened it, and then I was in the box.
You're creating a paradox, Mr. Jardine.
I thought Trellis is the box in this.
What?
Isn't it? I'd make sure I understand. Isn't Trellis the box?
He's the box with just a roll of tape inside.
How did you figure that out, and I didn't?
I listened.
23 marriages. The numbers don't lie.
No.
I'm a statistician first.
Also, his ex-wives don't lie either, and
Well,
they have been very, very vocal.
They lied when they said I do.
And then they realized it was a big don't.
They didn't lie. They did do, but then they did not. And that's what's important to remember. And you might think that what I'm saying is harsh, but what I'm saying is truth. If I wanted to be harsh, I would, but I do not care to be. But honesty is the favor I grant you.
No, she's just being honest, Trellis. She's just telling what you need to hear.
So you're saying I should be a more adhesive piece of tape, is what I'm hearing.
I'm saying that you are a beautiful box
Yes.
that anyone would be proud to have and carry and put under their branch. But what I'm saying is marriages are not built on the wrapping. Marriages are built on the gift. Be a gift, sir.
Trellis, just to recap, Trellis is a bit like if you're in a department store and they have the Flurger.
Yes, of course. Flurger season's one of my favorites.
Oh, it's a wonderful
The
season.
lights.
And they just have a bunch of packages under these trees, and they have nothing in them. They're just display items.
Correct.
So are you saying that in a way that Trellis is like a display item that looks beautiful, but it's just totally empty experience when you open it up?
But he has the tape. You can tape the tape to many things
Oh,
and create
the
a
tape.
whole new gift inside. You've got what you need, Mr. Gardeen.
See?
You've got that roll of tape.
Potential.
There's a lot of potential here in this gorgeous box. That's what I'm hearing.
Now, does the tape have a thing where it will cut the tape when you're ready, or do you have to use a pair of scissors or something to cut the tape? I just want to know. I need the detail on this. Is it a tape like rip off there, or that it's going to be a big pain? And it gets...
Like you would even take the time to cut it.
Well, you've just mentioned where in between, whether you rip a tape or have a serrated edge or a scissor, in between those choices is where love is found, Mr. Zinn.
Oh, on the serrated edge of love.
Because normally he would just pull off a bunch of tape, wad it into a ball, and then mash it in between whatever he's trying to stick together. And usually it falls off the wall after about 10 seconds, which I think, like you just said, is an appropriate analogy for Horatio's love life.
We're looking at you, Trellis. We're looking into your soul right now, Trellis.
My soul.
Let's not look into mine.
Well, Mr. Zinn, might I ask, have you tried to scotch tape a love to the outside of your girthy chest?
Oh, I have tried to scotch tape things to me, yes. And there actually may still be some on, because I haven't seen my back in years.
I'm sorry, I was still speaking metaphorically.
Oh, I'm sorry.
How is your romantic life? How can I help and bring love to you?
Well, I would say that I have a couple of ex-wives. Actually, I have a current wife, but one of the reasons the relationship works so well is that we live in different timelines. We found that it was better for us to exist in separate timelines because,
Separate realities.
separate realities, yes. Well, there's one reality where one of us was in love and the other was just killing time.
And might I ask, do you vacation together in a similar timeline?
I enjoy a good vacation where there's just not much activity. She's a hiker. She loves to hike. Well, one of them did, and then another one didn't hike so much as had this really enjoyed flinging themselves off of like high points and just seeing it, how long it would take to land. And I said, that's not really my form of enjoyment. I'll be over here at the bar.
Well, let me ask you this, Mr. Zinn. And remember, my family and I are known for our honesty and forthrightness.
Yes.
With this in mind and all that you've told me, are you really married at all? Or are you alone, filling the empty hole in your heart with food and firecracker shrimp?
Oh, no, it's definitely the latter. Definitely the latter. That was sort of a conscious decision.
Are you saying he's been eating his food wrong? Putting it into his heart? It's supposed to go into your stomach.
Are you saying have I been eating my feelings incorrectly?
Eating, yes, I was speaking of eating your feelings. Very astute, Mr. Zinn.
Oh, don't tell the potential mates out there. That might terrify them.
Well, I must say, gentlemen, one of the reasons I agreed to come on your program is, as I mentioned at the top, my family has given me only 1 year to work with people of your stature.
Yeah, low
I
status.
must make at least one marriage connection, or my family will force me to raise up and rejoin the family business with
Oh, no.
the rarefied elites with whom we normally work.
No. I just want to say, I think it's so lovely that you're giving of your time to lower species.
That just made me think. Like, what made you decide to work with the lower level clientele? I would think hanging around the elite, the rulers, the emirs, the czars would be a lot more fun than hanging out with us.
Yes, you would think that, wouldn't you?
Most anyone with any sanity would, I think.
To be honest, it can be rather oppressive. For example, if one had a youthful indiscretion and her family found that she was kicked out of her learning institution due to the use of recreational drugs, and if someone had slight oppositional defiance disorder and said, Belgium to you, Mom and Dad, I'm going to go my own way, perhaps one would try and redeem themselves or prove their parents wrong because they are wrong.
Now, I'm going to jump out on a limb here and say, are we talking about you?
Let's just say it's a discreet person about whom I'm speaking, who bears a strong resemblance to myself.
All right, good. I say if it's a friend of a friend.
So then, someone such as myself, if someone such as myself had been through something similar to the thing about which I spake, then one might go and branch out and try and prove their parents wrong and that they're just snobby jerk faces.
That can't happen. I snobby jerk face. I every so often I will browse through the manual for I forget what it's called, of course, but all this like psychiatric terms and conditions and things, and that is one of my favorites. That's what
Right. Well, I please, I don't mean to offend anyone who is afflicted with snobby jerkface, and let me just be clear that I am not referring to the band Snobby Jerkface. Love their hits.
No.
Oh, wonderful.
Love their hits.
Wonderful.
But I meant it as the epithet after which the band was named.
Yes, good. But you want to differentiate that.
Maybe for Horatio, you should take some baby steps and do a food match.
Are you gonna do a swab on the inside of my cheek or something like that?
And then step up to actually matching him with another being.
Oftentimes, we do look for people who have hobbies in common. We could absolutely spread that to food in common, I'm sure.
Oh, wonderful. Would I have to share my food with them?
Well, I think that's up for negotiation. But if you can find someone who loves exactly the same food you do, then I don't see a reason to share.
That's really, you're going to get into portions, how much food is available. But I understand, that is part of negotiation, is part of a relationship.
I don't care to fight with you over food, Mr. Zinn. I know better than that.
Oh, you're what?
That
you're
is
just like you're
wise.
You know me. You cut to the core. Wonderful.
I'm a truthful person.
I feel a bit just flayed at this point, but it's wonderful.
You get to those deep insights really quickly. I would like to make sure that whoever you might match me up with is not better looking than me.
Well, I think that would be rather difficult, Mr. Gardeen. Do you not agree?
Very diplomatic of you.
Who knows? There could be someone in the galaxy or the universe that's better. But it's like going back to that present analogy. We can't have a better looking present under the tree. The person coming down the stairs is more drawn to that one than to me. Equal is okay, because then I would like both of these presents to go and unwrap. But if the other one is way better looking, my present is just left under the tree alone, and wondering when some attention is going to be paid.
Mr. Gardeen, if you don't mind my saying, and extending the metaphor at the same time, anyone who would care to go on a date with you is a gift to you.
Oh, yes, it's definitely a gift.
Does it come with a gift receipt?
I believe one of the reasons that you have struggled so much with relationships is that you do see yourself as the only gift. And a gift with no one to open it is just a box with junky paper on it.
And opening your own gift,
Yes.
that's in some cultures that's considered very naughty.
Very
That's
gauche.
considered very naughty. No, gauche. Some it will grow hair on your palms. I understand. I don't know if that's science, but
I've heard it as
that.
well.
Opening your own gift. That's another book.
I've been inside myself so long, I pretty much know what's inside the gift here. So, just waiting to be opened.
But Mr. Jardine, I'm just wondering what qualities you look for a partner. Clearly you're interested in love, at least you have been 23 times. And I wonder, what is the ephemeral quality that you've been looking for and have not found?
That's a good question. Such a good question. Someone who would like, I'd like someone who'd like to do couples plastic surgery with me.
Oh.
Occasionally going in there together, constantly trying to improve ourselves on the outside. If we improve each other on the inside, that's a bonus.
Now, Mr. Gardeen.
Oh, I like Jardine better.
I
like Jardine. Jardine sounded so much better.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't realize which was which. I've actually been switching back and forth this entire time.
Well, he is Gardeen, but I Jardine.
It made me feel like one of the more elite clients when you said Jardine. I was like, ooh.
Yes. So, Mr. Jardine, as you know, I come from a long line of very, very influential, high-ranking matchmakers of kings, royalty, emirs, and czars. I think I have the perfect match for you.
Oh, exciting.
Oh.
Exciting.
It will involve a bit of work on your part,
Oh.
but just quick work
Oh, great. Well, I'm on it.
of coming to the planet Doublemint and creating a clone of yourself.
Oh.
Oh, fascinating.
And I think, after speaking to you and interviewing you, that you are, in fact, the perfect match for you.
I am. That's awesome. How did I not think about this before?
I feel that this is a
Oh.
match that could last the test of time.
I do like looking at myself.
But I don't want to, just a potential trouble spotting here, having known him for a long time. I will see a bit of competitiveness between Trellis and Trellis within the relationship. I for one thing, I don't know if, say they share a home and they have to share a bathroom and mirrors. I just see fights. I just see catastrophe, blood on the mirrors.
I'm fine with separate bathrooms.
Well,
That's
this
my
is where compromise comes in. You could absolutely
See?
have separate
wonderful.
bathrooms. Just because you're the same person doesn't mean that you're the same person.
Yes.
Oh, beautiful. Yes, that's
Think
very,
about it,
very
Horatio.
profound.
Think
Very
about it.
profound.
Come on.
But I do recommend a period of dating, of you getting to know you and you getting to know you and each other's quirks and foibles, because when you're doing them yourself, they're not as annoying as when someone else is doing them.
So you're saying I could really get on my own nerves, is what
Exactly.
you're saying.
But that's where the compromise comes in.
Now I have a question. Is there a chart to? When is it too early to start petting or such as that? Is it on the dates? Like when would you want? Was that something should he wait?
I would always recommend a period of chastity before intimate contact so a couple can get to know each other before getting too close. In this scenario, Mr. Gardeen and Mr. Jardine would already have intimate knowledge of each other,
Yes.
but I would still recommend waiting. So you really want you.
I know what Trellis likes.
You know what Trellis likes? Yes, Trellis knows what he likes. That's fun. That's fascinating. I was just curious about that.
Now, would you be able to? I don't know if the same thing kind of would your glide path for Horatio
path.
is the same. There's already enough of him to really be two. Would you just split him in half if he were going to match up with himself as well?
Honestly, if I were to make a match for Mr. Zinn, I do find that while we want to be like of mind, oftentimes opposites do attract. Seeing the girth and size of Mr. Zinn, I would actually recommend someone quite tiny for him. Someone who perhaps could fit in his pocket, not fight him for food,
True.
but able to spend quality time together.
Would they eat from the crumbs falling down into the pocket then, I assume?
And the crumbs in my beard, and they have to feast on that.
Yes. Yes, let every meal be a
Symbiotic
snout-to-tail
relationship.
experience. Leave nothing uneaten.
Oh, wonderful. Snout to tail. That's one of my favorite ways to date. Favorite dating services is snout to tail. I had a point that now it's gone. For some reason, it just flew out of my head.
Like your tiny girlfriend will fly out of your pocket one day.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to remember. I did at one point. Actually, it's interesting. You're obviously very insightful.
Thank you.
Because
Yes.
the closest thing to love I had in a long time was a being, and sadly I cannot remember her name. It was so emotional that I blocked out the emotion. She was a tiny little queen from another planet, and she nestled in my beard, and it was.
And
it
you
was quite
enjoyed
lovely.
it.
So you were very insightful.
Well, perhaps it's time to find your next tiny queen, Mr. Zinn.
And so that was a lovely experimental phase at that point.
It was on Kona. Queen on Kona, Horatio,
Yes.
and I was just waiting to see if you could remember
I'll
her
never
name.
forget her.
I was waiting to see if you'd remember her name, but clearly I had to jump in here and save you.
I'll never forget her, Trellis.
because you never. Well, hopefully not now that I had to
No,
remind you.
I'm going to write it down on my hand next to the other.
Well,
note.
just remember, if the breakup was bad enough, she'll never listen to this podcast.
Oh, that's wonderful assurance. Thank you. Well, now I would love for this to continue on and on and on and continue the sessions indefinitely.
Therapy. Did you just almost say therapy?
I did say therapy. This is a bit of therapy.
I am a therapist of love.
Okay. Well, I have discovered I'm a beautiful box, and
Therapist of love, counseling and therapy.
eventually there could be a present inside myself, which is myself.
I think there is hope for that, Mr. Jardine. Hang in there, and when I say hang in there, I mean in there.
Yes, inside, deep inside.
Don't leave. Pack a lunch.
with the Scotch tape. Well, Horatio, what do you think our entry for the guide should be?
I'm thinking, don't be a snubby. No, that wouldn't work. That's more of a. Don't be a snobby jerk face. That's something else. There's also some people can't help that, and I don't want to make fun of those. Yes, I don't want to make fun of people.
I hope they find a cure.
Let's see. Oh, I had something. If I could read my writing. this
What's
would be
the
a lot
official name of
easier.
the elite dating service?
Oh yes.
You almost got me there. I almost said it. You know that this matchmaking service is so elite that you don't even have enough money for me to tell you the name.
If you have to ask, you really can't be a member.
But just
is what you're
remember the
saying.
Stellamint Murf name, and you'll figure it out.
Okay, so Stellamint Murf.
Yeah, just put that down. Stellamint Murf. If you have to ask, you can't afford it.
Exactly.
Yes, there you go. That's in. I'm going to hit submit. There we go. Well, I don't know if we were your first two lower level clients.
Yes, you were.
What an honor.
How do you think? So then, how do you think it went? What do you think your chances are of nailing that one low level match to really stick it to your parents?
Yes, we'd be able to continue to slum.
Yes.
Well, I believe that this was a good start, and I'm just reminding myself that I have a full year to really shove it up my parents' Belgium.
Thank you for joining us for Hitchhikers and Appetizers. And of course, special thanks goes to our guest, GoGo Stellamint Murf. I have been Horatio Zinn.
And I continue to be Trellis Gardeen. Until next time, keep your towels clean. And if you're attacked by a shape-shifting alien while working at an Antarctic research station, you can always blow up the entire place with TNT and hope that help arrives before you finish your last bottle of cheap scotch. So don't panic.
Everything you heard in this episode was improvised, but not everything improvised was heard. This episode of Hitchhikers and Appetizers featured the voice talents of Mike Gorgone as Trellis Gardeen, Bran Peacock as Horatio Zinn, and Shuli Cowan as GoGo Stellamint Murf. Finally, Hitchhikers and Appetizers is part of the Improv in Action Network. Check out other great improvised podcasts and projects at improvinaction.com. If you'd like to reach out to Trellis or Horatio, you can send electronic messages to them at our Galaxy address, hitchappspodcast@gmail.com. Or you can find them on Twitter with the handle hitchapps.
And before you go, we here at Hitchhikers and Appetizers would like to announce that we're now a featured podcast on Newsly. Newsly is an all-in-one audio super app for iOS and Android. It picks up the most trending articles on the web on topics you choose at any given moment and reads them to you in a natural human voice. For the first time ever, the entire web becomes listenable, all in one place. Browse articles from topics you choose and start playing. Stop scrolling, start listening. You can follow any topic as specific as you like, from sports, tech, business, science, Bitcoin, or even the Kardashians. We here at Hitchhikers and Appetizers won't judge you, to your face at least. Newsly will find you the latest articles and read them to you aloud. And they have podcasts as well. Explore trending podcasts from over 80 countries. As mentioned earlier, our podcast is there too. I started using it as my default podcast app. They even have digital radio. Download and use Newsly for free now from www.newsly.me or from the link in this episode's description, and use the promo code ZERS, Z-E-R-S, to receive a 1-month free premium subscription. 1 month is better than no months, I always say, and I'm Trellis Gardeen.
Shut up and sit down.